Hi guys. So today I decided to prepare some special video tutorial which is something unique. So I know that many of the developers would love that because today we would be interacting with real-time database which is provided free by Google. So real-time database name is Firebase. So it's a product that is being provided by Google, and it's an awesome product which allows you to send real-time notification to all the users who are currently connected to the app or to the web application. And the best part of Firebase database is that it is available for both Android as well as iOS, and to make things more amazing, it is also available for web platform also. So today we would be looking into the web platform. I know sometime it will make the tutorial lengthy, so bear with me because I need to explain some of the steps that I did in order to configure the Firebase in my web app. So today we would be looking into integrating the Firebase database through the HTML5 notification API. I already did two tutorials about this, so I will link it in the description so that you can see it in sequence wise, and then later on you can watch this. Now this tutorial is coming from one of the developer. So he wanted to know how the Firebase gets integrated. So is pretty much for him to explain how the desktop notification can be integrated with Firebase real-time database. So I spoke a lot. Let's see some coding, and I hope everyone will enjoy it. So for demonstration purpose, I already have coded, so I will explain step by step what I did here. And this code can only run if you have a local server or if you can deploy this in HostGator server, any server. Since I have PHP installed in my Mac, so I am using PHP Apache server. So this code needs to be run inside the server. So my server is already started, as you can see that my Apache web server is running. And if you don't have any server, then I am sorry, you cannot run the code. So to look into the code, let's see the project directory structure. Now I have two files with name firebase.html and firebase1.html. I would be explaining firebase.html and not opening firebase1.html. This is because it contains some sensitive information which I do not want to make it public. That is why I am not showing this file, but firebase.html is same as firebase1.html. So in order to run the code, I would be using firebase1.html, and I will show it to you what sensitive information I am talking about and what I cannot show it in public. This is the HTML markup of an web application. This is the anchor tag. So in order to use the desktop API notification, you need to request the permission first. If the user allows that permission, then only you can have a pop-up message allowing to show the information. So if you deny the permission, this entire step would be neglected. Now you have username and message. You can type which username you want to visible in the pop-up, and you can also type what message you want to show it. And this is the button. Once clicked, sorry about that, once clicked, it will store it inside the Firebase database. And this is the unordered list where it will add the comments as a list element. Now we have included the jQuery. Okay, and these are the things that I was talking about. So you can see that there is one Firebase JS reference. So this is a JavaScript file which initializes your Firebase database. And if you see at the bottom, we have this config object, this particular part which I have highlighted, and here is the sensitive information that you are not allowed to share. So API key, the authorization domain, the database URL, storage bucket, and messaging sender ID. So how can I get these values? So to get these values, you log in your Gmail account and type Firebase Console. Now if you go into Firebase Console, it lists down your all the projects, and if you don't have, you can create your new project by clicking on this button, and you can select on which region you are in, and you can create the project. So for this purpose, I already have created the project, which the name is squash project. Very weird name, but I have named it like that. And once you open this project, a dashboard is open. So you can see that, as I told before, this Firebase is integrated with iOS app also, Android app also, and web app also. So I am today talking about the web app. And if you click on this button, which I am not going to, so you will see all the necessary information. So you can copy the code and you can paste it with the required values of the property. Okay. After getting that, so once you click on this button, you will get the necessary information about the API key, the auth domain. Just copy that code and paste it here inside this file and replace it. Now coming back to the code. Now what I did is basically, since we have a button with the name button get message. Okay. So once the user clicks on that button, which is this, so once the user clicks on that message, we write it into the Firebase database. So since this property contains the database URL and all the necessary information, so you can already have connection enabled. And if you call this function inside the database, what it does, this is the database reference object. You push the key and you set the property as an object, as in username is name, and this name is coming from this text box username, because the yes, so it's coming from this text box. The message is coming from the message text box, and it is creating the entry inside the Firebase database. Okay, so once, and you can see here the database is referenced. So Firebase is the main object. Inside it, we are accessing the database object and we are targeting the users object. I will show it to you later how this structure is maintained, so you will understand more. Okay, so every time whenever a new entry is added, so this particular event handler gets executed. So whenever a new entry inside the users object is added inside the Firebase database, a event is triggered and it calls a function with the name render UI. And in render UI, we are always refreshing whatever the data is being loaded. So, and this database dot on child added, now this value will always be executed whether the new entry is added inside the database, or whether it is modified, or whether it is deleted. So three cases it will happen automatically. But if you specify specific to child added. So this event will only trigger whenever a new entry inside the Firebase database is added. And if the permission is given for HTML5 desktop notification, what it does, it creates a new notification object. So here we get the username from the text box. Here we get the username from the data which is being added inside the Firebase, the message, and the unique ID to recognize the pop-up. So if you are not familiar with this code, I strongly recommend that you see my first and second video tutorial, then you will understand it. Now, this is it for this particular code. And now if I see into my database section, so you can see at my code, you will see that this is referencing a users object, right? So this is by users object, and inside this the entry would be added. Now once the entry is added, this is our database reference. And push, now push gives a random unique key. So inside that key you have the message and the username, right? So this key is unique and it will automatically generate it for you. So that is why we are using push, and inside that particular key we are inserting two particular properties with name, username and message. I'm sorry guys if my voice is coming weird because I have cold. So excuse me for that. And this is how the database structure looks like. So this is your parent URL, this is your child element, and inside the user's child we are adding all the messages. And we have some events which is on child added on value. So every time whenever a data is being either edited or deleted or added, so then the render UI function would be called. But if specific event you want to target, then we have given child added, and inside child added, whenever a new entry is added in Firebase database, a pop-up of desktop notification will be shown to you. So enough about talking, let's see this code in action. So as I told before, since it contains sensitive information, I cannot show it. So I will be running Firebase 1.html. Now these all things are already been documented. So if you go to the docs section and if you start for the web, then you will see all the necessary information regarding Firebase. I strongly recommend that you should have a look into this documentation, because if you understand the documentation, you understand everything about this technology. Okay, so at the top you can go to the doc section. Okay, so now we are going to run this code. So since I am in a server, localhost was the name, HTML5 notification API, and we have Firebase 1.html. Now as soon as I click on this page, what will happen is that, so a event would be triggered for child added, and for each element which is existing in our database, so these all elements already exist, a notification would be sent. So if I refresh this, now you will see that you have three notification. And if you see inside the, you have four notification, because if I close one notification, a one more notification will show, because it shows three at a time. So these are coming from Firebase database. So, and on the screen you can see that we have the information, whatever information is being added inside the database. Okay. So now if I add it any data, and if I click on get message button, I'm sorry, this text would be post message, but I am named it as a get message. I'm sorry for that. So if I click on that, you will see that on the right hand side again a pop-up will come, because on child added we are creating one desktop notification object, and in the UI, without writing so much of code, it will automatically refresh. Okay, so if I click on get message, so you will see that it is added on the UI and a desktop notification is sent. So this is the tutorial about it, because I have already accessed this particular page to have the permission, so that is why it is showing it. So if I disallow it, so if I disallow the notification, now if I reload this page, so it's showing please allow the notification first. Okay, that is why you will see that a pop-up is not coming. So I can request the permission, I can allow it, and if I refresh this again, and you will see the notification coming out. Okay, this is all awesome. And now the another awesome thing. So if I open two parallel browser, oh, I'm sorry, I think Safari is getting updated. Okay, so let me try like this. Yes. Now if I open two particular browser, now you will see that notification has come out. Okay, and now if I refresh this, you will again see that notification has come out. Now these are two different independent browsers, and see what it is happening. Now I am putting an entry here. It will automatically refresh the UI, and it will show two pop-ups, one for this browser and one for this browser. So even if you add an entry here, it will happen in both the browser, and it will show two notifications. So let's see this in action. So if I click on get message, it will be added here also and here also in this browser, and two notification would be shown. So if I click on get message, so you can see that this one is added and here also it is added, but we have added only in this. That is why also here it has been added. So if I close this, so this is how you can see that from one browser to another browser it is syncing. That's it for today tutorial. I know it is little bit confusing, so if you rewind this tutorial and look into it, it will make much more sense. So thank you everyone for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed a lot. If you have any difficulty, just let me know. I can revise this particular content and I can explain much more about it. I will make a Firebase as a separate topic, so I would be including some comment system inside the Firebase database, but that would be in future. Right now, I have just integrated this with notification API because many of the developers was asking how can we do this as a real time. So with the Firebase database, you can do it as the real time as shown, because whenever we add an entry here, so it updates in this particular browser as well as this particular browser, and it also gives you the notification. So that's it for today tutorial. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching this and have a nice day. Bye.